He said he'd found proof I'd stolen from the company, but I didn't know then he was the one who planted it. My name is Alex Reyes, and until 3 months ago, I never believed my older cousin Ethan was capable of ruining my life. We grew up like brothers, sharing bike rides, late-night gaming marathons, dream plans of starting a company together someday. Ethan was charismatic, charming, the kind of guy people trusted quickly. I was quieter, more patient, the one who handled the spreadsheets when we eventually did open our small electronics store, Reframe Tech. Ethan was the face. I was the backbone. And for a while, it worked. Money started coming in steady, customers loved us, and we celebrated every small win like it was a championship. I never once questioned the drink he handed me on the rooftop the night we hit our first $100,000 in sales, or the speech he gave about loyalty and family. I thought it was gratitude. Maybe it was a warning. Because 2 weeks later, everything shifted. Merchandise began disappearing. Expensive stuff, graphics cards, gaming laptops, entire boxes of smart home gear. At first, I assumed it was inventory error. We were new, still getting organized. Ethan agreed, too casually, "I see now." He would clap my shoulder and say, "Relax, dude. No one's gonna screw us over. We're family." But customers returned claiming they'd bought items they never received. A supplier threatened to pull out, someone filed a complaint online, and suddenly our perfect little business felt like a ship leaking water I couldn't find. Then one morning Ethan called a staff meeting. He stood there with his arms crossed, jaw tight, eyes cold. Not the cousin who helped me move apartments, but someone else entirely. "We found the culprit," he said, and the room went silent. He pulled up grainy cell phone photos of boxes in the back of my car. My car. Everyone stared. I couldn't breathe. I hadn't stolen anything, yet there was Ethan, voice steady, as he suggested I'd been running side deals behind his back. When I demanded to see real evidence, actual video footage, he hesitated just a fraction too long. A flicker. Barely noticeable. But I noticed. Why had Ethan been so ready? Why were the photos angled like someone had been waiting for me, camera in hand? Why did the other employees look more shocked for me than at me? That night, alone in the dark store, I stood in front of the security monitor room. My hand hovered over the keyboard. Ethan said the CCTV system had been glitching. But what if it wasn't? What if the truth, the one thing that could save me, was hidden in those recordings, never meant to be found? The security room smelled like dust and old cables, familiar, but suddenly foreign, like stepping into a memory that no longer belonged to me. My fingers trembled above the keyboard as I stared at the CCTV login screen. I wanted to look. I needed to look. But Ethan's voice echoed in my mind. Cameras are buggy. Half the footage is corrupted anyway. At the time, I believed him. Ethan was always the confident one, the talker, the fixer. When anything went wrong, he had a reason ready. Always smooth, always subtle. Now, standing in the dark, I realized how many red flags I'd brushed off like lint. The first had come weeks before the missing inventory, when Ethan suddenly changed the business payment accounts. He said he just wanted a cleaner system, but after he updated it, I stopped receiving bank notifications. He said he'd handle finances temporarily. I didn't question him. He was family, and family doesn't stab each other in the back. Then there were the phone calls. Late at night, I'd catch him pacing in the hallway behind the shop, voice low, whispering sharply before snapping the phone shut when I got too close. He'd laugh it off, say it was personal, or that I wouldn't care about supplier stuff. But his eyes never matched the smile. And recently, though I didn't see it clearly until now, he started treating me like an employee, not a partner. Ethan got the praise, the front-of-shop conversations, the big decisions. I got the paperwork, the stockroom, the stress. He'd brush past me during meetings, cut me off when I tried to suggest something, even joke in front of the staff that I was too soft for business. I laughed with them every time, but it stuck like splinters under my skin. Still, I defended him. I told myself I was paranoid. That stress makes people strange. But the meeting where he accused me, that was different. His calmness was too perfect, rehearsed. And when our employee Mia later pulled me aside, Voice barely above a whisper, it chilled me. Alex. Ethan told us not to talk to you about the missing stock. Why? Why isolate me unless he needed control? That night after the false accusation, I went home, but sleep wouldn't come. I lay in bed replaying every moment, every smile, every pat on the back, every time Ethan said he had things handled. My chest felt heavy, like someone was pressing down on me. Fear and betrayal tangled into something sharp. He wouldn't do this to me. He couldn't. But what if he already had? By morning, exhaustion clung to me like a fever. I walked back to the shop before opening hours, heart pounding with something between dread and determination. The CCTV logs could expose everything, or prove nothing at all. Either way, I was done ignoring the signs. If Ethan was hiding something, I was finally ready to see it. The CCTV system booted up with a flicker. Lines of green text rolled across the screen like they were daring me to continue. I swallowed, clicked into the stored video files, and scrolled through the past month. A graveyard of normal days, blurred faces, deliveries, customers walking in and out. Then I found it. A timestamp just 3 days before Ethan accused me. 1:42 a.m. The shop should have been locked. Empty. Silent. But the cameras showed Ethan. He walked in through the back door with a duffel bag, using the key only we two had. He moved through the storeroom like he'd rehearsed it, head low, face tense. He loaded high-end laptops, graphics cards, and gaming consoles into the bag, hundreds of dollars of inventory at a time. Then, without hesitation, he carried the bag to my car parked behind the building. I slapped a hand over my mouth, choking back a sound between a gasp and a sob. He wasn't alone either. A man I didn't recognize waited in the shadows, handing Ethan a thick envelope after the final drop-off. Ethan counted the bills, smiling like he'd just won a prize, not stolen from me, not destroyed me. And then, like a knife twist, he pointed at my car and laughed. It was deliberate. Calculated. He wanted me to take the fall. Suddenly I couldn't breathe. The room shrank around me. My vision blurred with hot, stinging betrayal. Ethan, my cousin, my brother in everything but blood, had framed me to cover his own theft. Why? Why would he throw away everything we built? My legs gave out and I slid onto the cold floor, the hum of the CCTV monitors buzzing like hornets in my ears. My hands shook so hard the mouse slipped. Rage tore through me in a wave so fierce I thought I'd break something. I wanted to storm into his apartment, scream, demand answers. But beneath the rage was something heavier. Grief. The kind you feel when someone dies. But Ethan was alive, laughing on screen, betraying me frame by frame. I rewound it again. Watched him do it again. Every second burned deeper. I sat there for what felt like hours, staring at the proof of the betrayal that was supposed to ruin me. My life, my reputation, everything I worked for, he tried to take it. He didn't just want me out of the company. He wanted me gone. But I still didn't know why. Was he in debt? Blackmailed? Greed-driven? Had he always resented me? The footage answered nothing, except that I was prey in a game he planned carefully. I closed the monitor, wiped my face, slowly stood. If Ethan wanted war, he just declared it. And I wasn't going to lose. I didn't go home after seeing the footage. I couldn't. My body moved through the shop like I was made of glass, fragile, cracked, one touch away from shattering. Every corner held echoes of laughter Ethan and I once shared. Every shelf we built together felt like a punch to the gut. How do you mourn someone who's still alive? How do you keep breathing when the person you trusted most hands you the knife? Hours passed. Sunlight leaked through the front windows, but it felt wrong, too normal for the disaster my life had become. Employees began arriving, voices muffled behind the door, unaware of the truth humming quietly on the CCTV drive. I could have walked away. Quit. Let the betrayal swallow me whole. Part of me wanted to. The pain was sharp enough to make me tremble. Then Mia walked in. She froze when she saw me, eyes red-rimmed, voice gentle. Alex, you look like you haven't slept. I hadn't. I probably looked like hell. But there was something in her tone I hadn't heard from anyone else since Ethan's accusation. Not suspicion. Belief. She bit her lip like she was deciding whether to speak, then said quietly, "I've always known you wouldn't steal. Something about this feels wrong." Something cracked inside me, but not like before. Not from breaking. From waking up. Maybe Ethan underestimated me. He expected guilt to crush me, shame to silence me, fear to keep me obedient. Maybe for a moment, it almost did. But standing there in front of someone who still believed in me, something shifted. My trembling stopped. My breathing steadied. My anger sharpened into clarity. I wasn't powerless. I wasn't finished. I had the footage. Proof. All I needed was a plan. The thought sparked like a match, small, but hot enough to burn. Ethan thought he was untouchable. But the video changed everything. He didn't know I'd seen it yet. He didn't know I was awake to the game he'd been playing. And that ignorance would be my advantage. I spent the rest of the morning locked in the office, copying the footage to an encrypted drive. Every pixel was a bullet, every frame a weapon. I watched it again, not as a victim, but as someone preparing for war. By midday, my grief had cooled into something stronger. Something sharp. Something dangerous. Ethan tried to destroy me. He tried to frame me, strip my name, take everything I'd built, from the business to the trust one gave so freely. But he forgot that betrayal doesn't just break people. Sometimes, it builds them. And I was done letting him control the narrative. This wasn't just survival anymore. It was revenge. And I was ready to start. Revenge, I learned quickly, requires the patience of a surgeon and the precision of an engineer. Grief had sharpened into a plan with edges. I mapped it out on a whiteboard in the back office like a crime drama detective. Objectives, resources, timelines. Each step had to be airtight. No room for Ethan's smooth talk or convenient lies. The CCTV files were my lifeline, but one copy could disappear in one angry swipe. I made 3 encrypted backups, one hidden on my person, one uploaded to a private cloud account under fake name, and one mailed, yes, mailed, to an anonymous safe deposit box across town with instructions not to open unless I failed to check in. Paranoid? Maybe. Necessary? Absolutely. Video alone could be dismissed as tampered or doctored. I needed independent confirmation. I called the supplier shown in the footage. Carefully. I didn't accuse Ethan. I framed it as a missing shipment inquiry, noting serial numbers from inventory logs only Ethan would know to keep. The supplier's silence gave me what I needed. They confirmed someone had been selling our stock back to them through a middleman. They'd kept receipts, contracts, paperwork. Real, messy proof. Ethan thrived on confidence. He believed he owned the narrative. So I fed him one. I let a rumor slip, subtle, from a source he trusted, that I was thinking of selling my stake in the shop and walking away. If he believed I was leaving, he'd move faster, bolder. He did. Within days his calls were more frequent, sharp with impatience. That was the crack I'd been waiting for. I arranged a fake shipment pickup late at night. An empty, poorly labeled box left deliberately visible on the storeroom shelf. I made sure a camera angle could catch anyone touching it. Then I told an employee to text Ethan that I was moving a few high-value items to my car for safekeeping. I never said it out loud. I let the text do the work. If Ethan came back to stage more theft, he'd expose himself on camera again. Worse, on my terms. A public takedown would be the endgame, but timing mattered. I lined up 2 allies, Mia, who believed me and would testify about Ethan's late-night calls, and the supplier rep, who now had invoices. I also quietly made copies of the footage for a trusted lawyer under attorney-client privilege, insurance in case Ethan played the victim and dragged me into court. All morning I checked my phone for any sign of movement. Ethan seemed oblivious, texting me about trivial things, pretending the shop was normal. That calm was the most dangerous part. Predators often smile when they're cornering prey. The trap was set. The pieces were arranged like dominoes. Ethan still strutted around the front of the store, charming customers, making jokes about inventory mysteries. He wore control like cologne. If he came for the bait, if he touched that box, I would have the footage, the supplier receipts, a witness, and a lawyer. It would be a stack of evidence tall enough to bury his lies. But the plan was fragile. One mistake, one panicked move, one misplaced faith, and everything could blow up in my face. I watched him from the office window as he laughed with a regular, and for a moment I saw the man on my screen again, the one who had counted cash and smiled at me like I was nothing. He glanced toward the storeroom, unaware the game had already begun. He still thought he was untouchable. It happened on a Friday. The shop was buzzing like usual, customers browsing, conversations overlapping, the doorbell chiming every few minutes. Ethan was in his element, smiling, joking, the charming co-owner everyone admired. If the world were blind, he would have been a saint. But I wasn't blind anymore. At exactly 3 p.m., the supplier rep walked in, briefcase in hand, expression unreadable. A minute later, our lawyer stepped through the door. Mia locked the front behind them and flipped the sign to closed. Ethan froze. His smile faltered. Just for a second. But I saw it. Inventory audit, I said calmly, stepping beside the lawyer. We're here to clear up some discrepancies. He laughed, forced and brittle. Alex, man, we did this already. You were the one caught stealing, remember? Gasps rippled through the staff gathered behind us. He still thought he held the upper hand. So I handed him the remote. One button. One screen. One truth. The CCTV footage lit up the wall monitor, Ethan slipping in at 1:42 a.m., duffel bag in hand, loading stolen stock into my car, then collecting envelopes of cash from his contact. His face clear. His voice audible. His greed undeniable. Silence. Heavy. Crushing. Ethan's complexion drained like water down a sink. That's edited, Alex, he stuttered, reaching for excuses the way a drowning man reaches for air. But the supplier rep stepped forward, lifting contracts, receipts, and payment logs. These match the serial numbers of your missing inventory, he announced. Sold through an intermediary registered under Ethan Reyes. Another blow. Mia stepped up next, voice steady. And I can testify that Ethan instructed us not to talk to Alex about the disappearances. He manipulated the staff to isolate him. Ethan's jaw trembled. He looked at me, desperate now, not powerful. Alex, you're really doing this? After everything? Everything? He nearly destroyed me. He tried to frame me, my business, my reputation, my future. I met his gaze, steady and cold. I'm not the one who threw family away. The lawyer placed papers on the counter, legal filings transferring Ethan's shares to me as restitution and initiating embezzlement and fraud charges. With the video and witness accounts, it was airtight. He would lose the company. His freedom would be decided by courtrooms, not charm. Ethan lunged for the footage drives, panic overtaking pride. Too late. Mia pressed play again as he reached the middle of the room. Customers who'd been locked out were staring through the glass, watching him unravel. Phones were recording. His name, once respected, now dripped in shame like spilled ink. He screamed my name. But no one believed him now. Not with the truth playing on loop. Security led him out. Cameras flashing. Voices rising like wildfire. And as the door closed behind him, the weight I'd been carrying for weeks finally lifted. Not quietly, but triumphantly. He tried to frame me. The CCTV footage saved me. And watching his empire collapse under the truth. That was justice. The store felt different without Ethan's laughter echoing through the aisles. Quieter, calmer, almost too still. Like the air itself was exhaling after holding its breath for months. At first, I thought I'd feel empty without him here. I expected guilt, nostalgia, something to twist inside me. But instead, there was peace. Word of the exposure spread like wildfire online. The footage, once a secret buried in backup drives, circulated across forums, local news, then national tech channels. People didn't see me as the accused thief anymore. They saw me as the one who stood back up. The one who refused to drown in someone else's crime. Ethan didn't take it well. He tried calling, then texting, then pleading. But eventually he stopped. Court dates came and went. The evidence was too solid, too undeniable. He walked into the courtroom wearing the same confidence he used to control me with, and walked out in handcuffs. Embezzlement. Fraud. Attempted evidence tampering. His sentence wasn't long, but his reputation was. The cousin I once trusted was now a cautionary headline. Reframe Tech thrived after that. Customers who once eyed me with suspicion now shook my hand with respect. Mia became co-manager. Her loyalty deserved more than a thank you. Together we rebuilt what he tried to burn. Some nights, after closing, I still pause in front of that CCTV monitor. The screen reflects my face, the same one Ethan tried to shame and erase. But it's different now. Stronger. Sharper. I used to think betrayal breaks people. Now I know the truth. Betrayal doesn't break you. It reveals you. It shows who you are when the world turns dark. And I didn't just survive Ethan's lie, I outgrew it. Last week, a new employee asked about the infamous video. I didn't show it to her. I only said, some people will bury you to save themselves. Others will climb out and build higher. She didn't understand then. Maybe she will someday. Because there's something poetic about it. Isn't there? Ethan tried to frame me. He planted evidence. He counted the cash with steady hands. But in the end, it was his own reflection on the security feed that imprisoned him. His face on the footage. His fingerprints on the betrayal. His downfall built by the proof he never thought I'd find. And I walked away clean, because the camera doesn't lie. If you're watching this and you know the sting of betrayal, someone you trusted, someone who smiled while sinking the knife, tell your story in the comments. You're not alone. Sometimes the truth hides quietly until you're strong enough to face it. And if you want more stories like this, real, sharp, and satisfying, hit subscribe, and don't miss the next one.